I was born in Kansas City, Kansas, but I grew up 7 miles north of Tijuana in Chula Vista. Personally, my country was founded by people immigrating, but for the most part they did it legally. What we have now is an influx of people coming into the United States who are crossing our borders without the proper documentation, and in fact they are illegal aliens. Well, you know, there's a whole lot of reasons for that, and I don't want to indict the Mexican government, but I think the Mexican government is a big part of it. Up until a couple of years ago, they were actually publishing comic books and guides on how to cross the United States border without going through immigration or customs. It seems to me that's the Mexican government abetting illegal aliens coming into the United States. Every government has its share of graft and corruption, but in Mexico it's become an institution. And there's something on the order of $20 billion leaving the United States each year coming into Mexico that's being sent by the migrant workers. Now obviously some of that money is coming from people who are legally in the United States, but a very, very large percentage of that money is also coming from illegal aliens, who, by the way, I think the United States has something like 12 million illegal aliens in the country right now, and Mexico, or people from Mexico, constitute something like 56% of that number. In, I think it was the year 2004, the revenues that left the United States and came back into Mexico being sent by migrant workers was something on the order to match the oil revenues of the Mexican oil fields. And it totally dwarfed the entire Mexican tourism industry. So in essence, I think the Mexican government looks at illegal aliens as a revenue source. So they have absolutely no desire to stop people from leaving Mexico. Now, because the problem has gotten so bad, I think there's a lot of press that goes on and focuses on the areas where there are problems in the system. But every system has problems. There's no system that's going to be perfect because people run it. And that's always going to, you know, have differences of opinion in the way things are implemented. Certainly Mexico hasn't got a complete handle on how to handle their immigration problem. I read a story once where they were actually allowing people from Guatemala to ride the train cars and traverse all the way north so that they could get off at the American border. So that's really not a country I see that's enforcing their own immigration policies. Well, the American government, from I think its point of view, looks at the illegal alien as a revenue source loss. We have $20 billion leaving the country that would be money that would normally be spent in the country and would go a long way to keeping the American economy healthy too. One of the other issues that we've got is the social services that are being used by the illegal aliens. We've got thousands and thousands and thousands of kids in school whose parents aren't paying property taxes, they're not supporting local school boards or any of those sorts of things. And then when those kids get sick, they take them to the emergency room where care cannot be denied. And so the American public, as well as the government, is spending billions of dollars every year supporting people who are doing, well, they're providing services, obviously, but they're sending the majority of that money back home to Mexico, and America's not getting any of it. And that's just not right. So if you want to come into the country and do it legally, welcome. Be happy to have you. If you want to cross the border and have the government spend something on the order of $26 billion a year in social services for people who aren't paying any taxes back into the country, then I really don't want you here. If I walk across the United States-Mexican border, I have my passport, I have my Mexican FM3, I have all that stuff, but if I do not go through a legal immigration station on both sides of the border, I've broken the law. That's not racism. That's not anything. That's simply you crossed without following the proper procedures. That is illegal. I don't care who you are. You could be the President of the United States. And if that's what you did, then you've just broken the law. So calling it racism, I think, is just a cop-out. It's what the, I'll say liberal media, but I don't think that's really the right word. That's just another way of adding punch to the story to inflame passions. I think the passion should be taken out of this thing. I think what we should really be talking about is the rule of law. If you cross into the United States legally, welcome. Again, if you cross into the United States illegally, go home. We don't want you.